very happy to be able to welcome Chris Caiger-Watson from Genius People. Chris is a director and founder of Genius People, and he's passionate about people finding fulfillment in their career, or as he puts it, finding their genius. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing what Chris has to say today. I'm sure we'll all learn a lot from him. Please join me in welcoming Chris.
Thank you very much. As a bit of background, Brian has sort of summed it up pretty well there, but we specialize in professional services, so accounting and finance from a recruitment perspective, and I'm very, very passionate about the career counseling side of things. Hopefully then today it might give you a bit of structure around having a bit more of a longer term plan. So the chat, yeah, brilliant. Okay, so this was obviously the 15% of people roughly that are fulfilled in their job. So we'll get into the behavioral psychology side of things, just a couple of insights, and I'm actually going to link it to your values or set of values, because that's another great question that a lot of people, I mean, we all know our values, right, in terms of hopefully kindness and strong family values and things like that, but there's when we get into the psychology of your decision making and being a productive environment, a lot of that is how high you are placing your genuine career strategy in your set of values, right? Very, very important for moving things from the unconscious to the conscious. The unconscious mind is really the home of all of our habits. You know, it's the routine, the patterns, the behaviors, and equally the home of our core values and beliefs. So we can really only change that programming, really, which tends to happen in the first 10 years of life, particularly with some very subtle things that create the strategies in our mind that lead us to want to avoid pain, if that makes sense, and a self-worth and all of those things, which I think is fundamental to your decision making and going after and getting a job that you fully deserve and want, and is linked to a longer term career strategy. You can only really change those things, and that is consciously exposing yourself or ourselves to opportunities that allow us all to grow and change. Because if you are in a job that you don't really enjoy, you're not fulfilled, spending a good 6 to 12 months, really, well, 3 months designing and really researching and looking at things, it will give your job purpose now, you know, which again will link into a bit more fulfillment, while hopefully you're working towards finding, you know, something that really is you're passionate and fulfilled in. So Carl Jung, you know, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate, right? So it's exactly where, you know, all of us, we've all done it, we're all doing it. So it's really important when you're doing this that you set your career and your job and your career strategy as one of your highest values, and you're going to apply yourself to that with the highest passion and internal energy, if you will, as opposed to them being a productive environment. So very, very important whenever you're doing any of this stuff, psychology-wise, to link it to a higher set of values. I can't tell you how lucky you are to be qualified and do what you do, because you can literally do and align those areas of fulfillment in a sector, in an industry, in a job that's very aligned to a passion, a natural, you know, a natural joy or interest or whatever it might be. There's not a lot of sectors and things that has the volume. And as Mark said at the start of all this to me, you can go all over the world and do it. And even stretching yourself a little bit when you're designing it, I always think you should have a 5-year career strategy, full stop, right? Whether that's a promotion cycle, whether that's digressing and moving into a different area, a different business, different sector. I think you should always have a 5-year goal and aim, and then reverse engineer that, right? That gives you a natural energy and a purpose, and gives you a bit more fulfillment naturally because you're working towards a goal. And it also links in, and this is a really important factor, particularly for those that don't have a natural confidence in an interview scenario. If you have spent a long time going through these 4 areas, and you get to your interview, because you cannot fabricate authenticity, right? You cannot. So if you are sitting there in an interview that and they ask you, why is this role important to you? Why is this business important to you? And you naturally come through because of the key areas of fulfillment, why you're passionate about it, why that type of job is interesting, and the research that you've done. You are going to stand out head and shoulders above a lot of people that have applied to that role out of a productive environment because they've just seen it, they've liked it, a recruiter's put them forward for it. That is a fundamental, massive benefit of consciously designing what we're talking about here, because your eye contact, your body language, your passion, your tone, everything that you come across in that interview stems from this, because it's from the heart, right? Very important, very important aspect of all of this, I believe. So we've had a little chat about the 4 areas, the quadrants, if you will, and talking about being a productive environment and taking control of it. I think fundamentally researching the market and researching the opportunities and the businesses and the sectors and everything that's available to you is hugely important. And again, this comes down to the conscious design, because I think self-reflection can be a bit difficult for a lot of people. And then even beyond that, I think on a more philosophical level, or really getting into the conscious design, how much do you want to challenge yourself to develop some of those natural aptitudes?
We got a good comment from Jessica Ann saying that she had taken a massive hit on starting her own business, and she's written hard work and long hours, but happy and content. So I think that speaks to what you've been saying.
Yeah, love that, Jessica. Love that. And interestingly, can I just ask with that, right? How easy was that decision for you?
The decision itself wasn't easy because being the only breadwinner and the sole breadwinner in the family, that sort of automatically made it a challenge. But I think, with the support of my husband and sort of, like I say, hard work and sort of drawing a little bit back on the skills that I've had from the past, I'm not regretting it any one day. So
love it. And no doubt because of the quality of what you're doing. And I think a congruence that you find in yourself when you make these decisions, that's right for you, the quality of what you do will only allow you to progress.
I think you've made some fantastic points there, Chris. I think certain things really struck me. I think particularly having the 5-year career strategy. I know early on in my career, I just went from one thing to another, and I actually look back and think I was pretty lucky because new opportunities kept opening up, and they were great. It was a learning experience, etc. But I think at some point, and some people hit this sooner than others, it's like thinking, well, what do I actually want to be doing, and where do I want to be going? And sort of more recent, the last few years, I found myself more actively thinking about my values and strengths. And I think those points are just so important, really, to get really the most out of ourselves and also the most out of other people. Aligning our strengths and aptitudes with our values in what we do with our career is just so important. And at the end of the day, who doesn't want to be happy in their job?
Oh, absolutely. We see it all around us, in our family, our friends, and ourselves. So you've really got to consciously reflect and look at those things. Very important, guys.